Welcome to the DNA Activation and Attunement Orientation, brought to you by Pleiadian Institute. What is here is elsewhere. What is not here is nowhere. Vyasa. Our agenda today is to look at the big picture of DNA activation and attunement and understand it from a bird's eye view. And in order to do that, we're going to cover 5 topics. The first topic is the importance of DNA in healing. Next, we're going to discuss the DNA activation and attunement process, the role of epigenetics, and the presence of your light body and your Merkaba and how they connect to the DNA activation process. And we're also going to look briefly at our DNA activation framework. Let's begin with the importance of DNA in healing. DNA is both the building block of all life and the blueprint for all cellular activity in your body. Your DNA holds patterns from your past and from the past of your ancestors. It was shaped by the habits and the environment of your ancestors, and it continues to change daily based upon your environment and your habits. Your DNA is dynamic. That means that it's changing constantly in each moment. It radiates energy through the patterns embedded in it, and it directs all cellular response in your body. DNA are like a teacher for your cells. That's the best way to understand it. They instruct all cellular activity, and therefore they are the teachers of how healing arises, and also they teach our cells to create disease. DNA teaches all cells patterns of expression. Our DNA explains why people who experience trauma, for example, have children and grandchildren who suffer in the same way. This is because the trauma is an environment that shapes the DNA, and then the DNA forms a pattern that teaches other cells to express based upon that original environment or the original trauma response. Those cells are then trained in a pattern of expression that's passed on through our genes from one generation to the next. But just like DNA can instruct an expression based on trauma, it can also instruct expression based on healing. This is what it means to be a generational chain breaker. It means you're essentially changing your environment and your habits. This then instructs your DNA to teach your cells different ways to express. So, in understanding all of this, then you can really see how you train your DNA. You are the trainer of your DNA, just like your ancestors have been. Except today, we are more conscious that we are shaping our DNA, and it allows us to make different decisions more consciously. When you prioritize practicing new habits daily, you then change your cellular environment. And that changes the way your DNA teaches your cells to express. And that leads us to the DNA activation and attunement process. So, what does it look like to teach our DNA to create patterns that heal? Well, first, it's important to understand that as your DNA is moving in each moment, it is absorbing everything around it. And DNA activation and attunement is an energy healing modality. And what it does is it brings together breath work, meditation, spiritual healing, and hypnosis. This creates a high vibrational, positive environment that surrounds your mind, your body, and all of your cells. It leads you through a comprehensive program. That program repeats daily, and you're given exercises that train your DNA. It also trains the full activation of your light body. Because what we will learn shortly is that your DNA and your light body are connected energetically. And an extension of that is the training of your Merkaba field. All DNA then both radiates energy and absorbs energy. So when we feed the DNA with a specific program, the DNA then radiates out what we feed it with. In that way, your DNA trains all cellular response in your body. So when you become the trainer and you feed your DNA all of those high vibrational practices, your DNA then communicates those new feelings and thoughts and cellular expression throughout your entire body. Through alignment with the light, through your breath, and through sound, you will retrain your cells and you will activate dormant DNA. And those are two of the key tools we use in DNA activation is attention to the light, breath, and sound. Activating your DNA, then, the strands of your DNA, it's an energetic process, but it's also a therapeutic process. It feels good. It doesn't ever stop feeling good. You can feel it when it is happening. Your mind feels better. Your body feels better. Your cells feel better. It repairs damaged cells and also awakens dormant cells. As you breathe light in repetitive patterns through your energetic meridians, while your brain is in a theta wave state, this results in the activation and attunement of your DNA. This process also improves cellular response throughout your entire body and mind. It's a spiritual experience and it's also restoratively healing. It's transformational in healing anxiety, depression, in strengthening immune compromised states, in healing from chronic pain and disease, and in releasing stored trauma from our physical, mental, and emotional bodies. Awakening our DNA then is a choice that we make over and over and over again in each moment as we go through a DNA activation program. You want to think of your DNA like a muscle. Just because you activate your DNA once does not mean it's activated forever. Instead, we must commit to daily healing practices to maintain a routine that continuously strengthens and supports the activation of your DNA. So this all begins, the activation of your DNA begins with your breath, with breathing high vibrational rays of light. That means your attention is on a ray of light and you are visualizing, breathing that light through your body into the cells of your body. Then the activation of your DNA is further facilitated through your maintenance of a theta state. This chart gives you an overview of what a theta brainwave state looks like, and it's right here in this fourth section. So this top state is what it looks like when we're going through our day, solving problems, working in the traditional way that we were taught to work. That is a gamma state, and our brain is active and busy, and you can see from these brainwaves, there's not a lot of space here. As we slow down our brain waves and get to an alpha brainwave state, this is when we're relaxed. We're watching a movie, we're spending time with our family or our children, and our brainwaves start to relax. The theta brainwave state is specific to meditation. It's specific to deep states of relaxation. This creates a lot of space. And it's in this theta brainwave state that we are most receptive to healing. And that is why hypnosis is such a big part of our process, because we use hypnosis to slow down our brain waves so that we can open to receive healing. And because of this, this modality is consistently transformational. You can visit our website and read our research that we've done that shows person after person and year after year that we have practiced this modality, the same results occur, which is spontaneous, unexpected healing. It leads you, and the reason why the spontaneous, unexpected healing happens is because it's a system that you're moving through. You are led through a system of breathing light through every cell of your body and mind. We systematically move through your entire body, from all the way down to your tips of your toes and the tips of your fingers. We are leaving no part of our body or our mind without bringing attention to it and breathing light through it while we are in this theta brainwave state. And therefore, the DNA activation and attunement process is a program that you follow again and again and again, just like an exercise program. It's also a toolbox that you can return to, that you can replicate, and that you can share with others. The process works invisibly at first. However, through repetition and over time, you will see and feel an increased life force activated within you. It is powerful and it is consistent. Now we're going to explore how we understand DNA activation from a scientific point of view. And that happens through understanding epigenetics. The science of DNA activation and attunement can be best understood through epigenetics. Epigenetics is the study of hereditable phenotype changes that do not involve alterations in the DNA sequence. So, in other words, it's the study of factors that influence the epigenome. And I have this symbol here to help you remember. When you hear the word epigenome, I want you to think of an ecosystem. The epigenome is a sheath that surrounds each one of your DNA, and it is like an ecosystem. It feeds your DNA. So when you have an epigenome that is full of light and nutrients and attention to health, then your DNA will shift and change in ways that are healing. The study of epigenetics is the study of how factors, both positive and negative factors, influence the epigenome. Your epigenome, the sheath of chemicals and proteins that cushion and modify each strand of DNA, sits on top of your DNA. So it is not within each cell, but it surrounds each cell. And it's in addition to the traditional way that genes are inherited, your epigenome can actually change the way that both cells and genes express. Epigenetics is the study of how your behaviors and your environment can cause changes that affect your epigenome and affect the way your genes work. Unlike genetic changes, epigenetic changes are reversible, and they do not change your DNA sequence, but they change how your body reads a DNA sequence. So what that means is you may still have a gene that says you are susceptible to a certain type of cancer, but a healthy, healed epigenome that's surrounding that gene can change the way your body reacts. It can change the way your DNA instructs cells as well. So I look at it like each strand of our DNA is like a child, and the epigenome is like the home that the child lives in. And so you can have a child that has, let's say, ADHD, but if you put that child in a home with a lot of structure and love and stimulus that allows their mind to thrive in positive ways, then that ADHD is going to express differently than if you put that child in a place that has no structure and no place to constructively channel its energy. So, in this way, then, we can deeply transform the way that our cells express. The study of our epigenome teaches us that genes react to environment and experience. Gene expression can be turned up or down through the epigenome. And the most important thing to remember about this is that our DNA is made up of genes. A gene is a unit of DNA that carries instructions for making a specific protein or set of proteins that then form the building blocks for all cells. So every cell in our body is constantly being regenerated, and it's our DNA that is instructing those cells how they are going to form. And it's the epigenome that is the home of our DNA. And our genes are fluid. They're malleable and they're interconnected. They're always changing and shifting. They are not static and set in stone. And our genes are constantly creating cells. So the epigenome then stores short-term genetic activity that goes back as far as several generations, which means your epigenome can be instructing or creating a home for your cells that is either healthy, that allows your cells to thrive, or that is imbalanced and that instructs cells that are diseased or that contain illness. To put this in context, there are an estimated 30 trillion cells in your body right now. Virtually every cell in your body, every one of those 30 trillion cells, contains a complete copy of the approximately 3 billion DNA molecules that make up our human genome. So every cell has within it DNA, and all DNA is a combination of a set of approximately 3 billion different molecules. So they're mixed together in different combinations, but within every cell, you have some combination of those molecules. So again, 30 trillion cells times 3 billion molecules in every cell. That gives you a total of 7 billion, billion, which if you were to write that out in numbers, it would look like this: 7 followed by 18 zeros. That's how many DNA molecules you have right now in your body that are instructing your cells. Now, it was originally believed that there were only about 19,000 unique genes within every human body. And remember, the genes are within our DNA. Genomic studies have led to findings. So recently, what we've learned, there's actually about more than double what we originally thought: 46,800 unique genes. That's as of 2018. And only 46 unique DNA molecules have been discovered. So, of these 3 billion DNA molecules that are in every cell, we've only discovered 46 of them to be unique. That means that the majority of these molecules are repeating. So, of these 7 billion DNA molecules in our body, we really have only identified a tiny little fraction of the genes and the unique molecules that make up these cells. And in fact, scientists for a long time now have considered all the rest of those molecules. So they say, okay, we know these 46,000 unique genes exist. We know these 46 unique DNA molecules exist. And they say, you know what? All the rest, the remaining 98% of human DNA, we consider this junk DNA. And what that means is that it has no impact on the coding of proteins that create cells. So what they're saying is these genes that they've discovered and the unique DNA molecules, they know what these do. They create specific codes that make proteins that lead to the creation of cells. But the rest, they don't know. There is no current knowledge of what happens with the rest of this huge amount of molecules in our body. So the way I want you to think of it is, I want you to think of it like an ocean. And what traditional scientists are doing is they're trying to count all of the fish and the life in the ocean, right? And they're saying, well, we don't understand 98% of it. And so that is not relevant. But what I invite you to think about is, what if all of those 7 billion cells in your body, what if they were all important? What if all of them had a purpose? And what if all of them contributed both to your healing and to illness and disease? And so instead of trying to count all of the fish in the ocean, we are going to, in our DNA activation and attunement process, we're trying to create the healthiest ocean we can so that all the fish and all the life in the ocean can thrive. That is why you want to think of your DNA like living in an ecosystem. That 7 billion, all those molecules, they're living in an ecosystem. And that ecosystem, it's your body, it's your energy field. That is your personal ocean. And what the epigenome contains is it contains these molecules that are proteins and chemicals that enclose DNA like a sleeve. So just like the ocean surrounds the fish, this epigenome, which is an invisible field, it surrounds our DNA. The epigenome acts as a switching mechanism that allows DNA to be turned off or on or up or down, the way a dimmer switch turns the lights up or down. So think the epigenome can turn on health, or it can turn on disease, or it can turn off a healing mechanism, or it can turn off a diseased pattern. It's within our epigenome that genes get switched on and off like a light switch, and up and down like a thermostat. Research in epigenetics also shows us that our environment, our food, the substances we put in our body that is not food, our community, our daily habits, our physical exercise, and our relationships all impact our epigenome. The epigenome then collects all of this environmental energy and data and creates marks on the DNA. These marks can be both positive and lead to healing, or negative and lead to disease. Our epigenome then is like the energy field of our cells. Research already tells us that meditation, energy healing, a plant-based diet, and all of our relationships can affect our epigenome. We know this for certain. However, there's no research, except the research that we have done in our programs, on holistic healing modalities like energy healing, like hypnosis, like spiritual healing, like breath work. We have not researched how these modalities can impact our epigenome. And it is my sincere belief and our purpose at Pleiadian Institute to dedicate our lives to researching holistic healing modalities, because their impact on our epigenome will change the way that we see health. It will change the way that we understand healing, and it will change the way the world understands these things. Now let's see how this connects to the esoteric principle or idea of our light body and Merkaba field. To activate your DNA is also to activate your light body. So think again about this ecosystem that is your epigenome. It doesn't just contain each cell or each molecule, but it contains this invisible space that surrounds your cells. It contains your entire energy field. As you activate your DNA, then, you simultaneously activate your light body. Your Merkaba vehicle of light is the name of your fully activated light body. When your light body is fully activated, it stretches out 50 feet in all directions. And when we activate our DNA consistently over time in a repetitive process, we fully are able to expand into the 50-foot field that is known as our Merkaba vehicle of light. According to our current scientific research, the large majority of our DNA, that 98%, known as junk DNA, is considered dormant or non-coding, meaning it does not directly code for proteins or cellular expression. However, it is known, scientific research has shown, that the non-coding DNA still plays important roles in regulating gene expression and other cellular functions. So it's not entirely inactive. In the DNA activation and attunement process, we activate this dormant DNA. This dormant DNA is also connected vibrationally to your etheric field. Your etheric field is the outermost layer of your auric field. It's also known as a transpersonal field of light because it is where we are the most connected to the fields of other people and other things around us. Your Merkaba vehicle of light expands beyond that etheric field and is that 50-foot expanded field of energy that surrounds your entire body. The key to activating these large fields of energy around us is time and attention. The more time you spend with your attention on your breath, breathing the light through your mind, through your body, on this field, the stronger and more activated this field becomes. Remember to think of it like a muscle. In order to develop the largest muscles, you need regular weightlifting, right? You need maybe 3 or 4 days a week, every week, not for 1 month or 2 months or 3 months or even 10 months, but for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years. That creates big, strong muscles. The same is true with a Merkaba field. Therefore, DNA activation is a commitment, first and foremost, to habit change. It's a commitment to change the time and the focus that you spend daily. And this all comes together in our DNA activation framework. And this page right here gives you an overview of the full framework. You can see at the center of the framework is our daily habits, because everything that we do in our framework has to be done daily in order to work. And there are 3 parts to the framework. The first is our actual healing process, the process where we work with the modalities of energy healing, hypnosis, meditation, and sound healing. Through practicing these holistic healing modalities daily, we create new pathways in our brain that facilitate the DNA activation. It also happens daily through our practice with breath work. So we consciously practice. And this is not just breathing 10 times deeply. This is an hour long of sustained, specific breaths where you consciously are breathing through different parts of your body repetitively. It's not easy, but it's also simple. So it takes time, just like doing a push-up is not easy, but once you start doing push-ups every day, it's simple, and you can find momentum when you begin a daily practice. The third piece to our framework is working with our microbiome. Our microbiome is the genetic material that contains all of the microbes, the bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and viruses that live on and inside the human body. And the factors that directly affect our microbiome are the food and the substances we put into our body, our sleep, our environment, the community we spend time in, our physical exercise, the media that we consume, and our relationships. And so when we are feeding all 3 of these areas with high vibrational experiences and high vibrational foods, substances, deep periods of sleep, and connection with other people, physical exercise, with our breath work and our daily healing, that is when the synergy happens and our DNA activates. And it doesn't happen if all three of these forces are not present. And this is what our DNA activation and attunement program leads you through. It leads you through a process that you complete over 12 months where you slowly begin to train yourself to develop new habits daily in each of these three areas. It's the relationship between all three that creates the healing. And our strength in our DNA is born in the repetition. It's not one day that your DNA activates. Instead, it's just like that muscle. Your muscle is born through the repetition, through the activities that you do each day. And there's not one day that the muscle arrives and is born, just like there's not one day that your DNA activates. Instead, it is something that is cultivated and grows stronger and stronger over time. What we do know is that our DNA responds to light. It responds to our breath. It responds to meditation. It responds to energy healing. It responds to sleep. It responds to changes in our microbiome. And our attention determines our frequency. Through hypnosis, meditation, energy healing, and sound, we train our attention. And our breath creates pathways that allow an activation of different frequencies of light to happen. Research on the impact of energy healing on our epigenome is virtually non-existent. We are the next generation of researchers. And the only reason that we can't say today that working with this energy healing modality is going to activate your DNA and is going to potentially heal you from chronic disease. The only reason we can't say that is because we don't have the research to back it up. And that is what we are doing. That is the purpose of us coming together, is to first practice on ourselves, first experience the transformation ourselves so that we can become the living, breathing messengers of this transformational work, and then to document that experience so that we can share it with others. And all of this happens inside of our DNA activation and attunement certification program. The certification program contains 7 courses. The first 4 courses lead you through the modality itself. They are Energy Healing 101, DNA Activation 101, DNA Activation 102, and Merkaba Activation 101. The final courses lead you through the research process. They teach you how to use specific language, including transpersonal psychology, so psychological language, to help to describe what is happening within your mind and your body and the minds and bodies of the people that you're working with. And it also leads you through a comprehensive research process that teaches you how to share this modality and document it, as well as a process to integrate this modality into an existing healing business. And DNA activation attunement is one of our certification programs, but it is also included in our other integrative healing programs. Specifically, it is included in our spiritual intuitive healer certification program. So when you enroll in this certification program, you will be led through the full DNA activation and attunement training. It's included in our Master Energy Healer certification program and our integrative to learn more. And we are enrolling on a rolling basis now and throughout the year into all of our certification programs. We have financial aid, including scholarships and grants that are available for all of our students. And so if you are called to this work, we encourage you to apply. And we have a space for everyone, no matter what stage of your life or no matter what type of financial resources you have right now. And if you are a student enrolled in this program already, remember that as you maintain your attention on the light, you will succeed. And it's my intention that the weeks ahead of us be deeply transformative, productive, and encouraging. I encourage you to come back to your breath and come back to the light anytime that you are feeling uncertain. And remember that it's in your repetitive daily healing experiences that everything happens. And so, as long as you anchor yourself into that, you will be on the right track. And finally, don't let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do. The most beautiful thing about DNA activation and attunement is that you don't need anything. You don't need expensive medication, or you don't need like machines or expensive equipment to complete any of this. All of this can be done with your eyes closed, with your focus on your breath, in your own home, no matter where you are. And I can personally attest to the fact that when you're in a really challenging situation, if you're sick or you can't get out of bed or you're having a low moment in your life, that's when DNA activation and attunement is the most powerful, because all you have to do is close your eyes, return to your breath work practice, and put 100% of your attention on the process itself, the light that you're breathing through your body, and the daily healing routines that you are led through. And as long as you focus on that, you will always have that. You always have your breath. You always have your attention and your focus. And that is your treasure. So if you are missing something, if you don't have something today that you need, the, the guidance is to just bring your attention to what you do have. And what you do have is you have in this moment the ability to focus on the light. You have the ability to visualize breathing that light through your body. And the more that you practice it, the more effortless it will become for you to breathe that light through your body all day, every day, no matter where you are. So we hope you join us for this transformational program. And if you have already joined us, then I am excited to continue to lead you through this process. Thank you for attending this orientation today. The time is now, and we are the change. Namaste.